Welcome into another edition of Hand Raised Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham. You probably know that by now. Welcome into the show. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. It's wintertime approaching. I guess the first day of officially of winter is December the 21st, so Thursday. So if you haven't had your heating element checked out, aren't ready to go, now would be a great time to do that. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, those areas, get in touch with Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in DeSoto County, Hernando, Memphis, that area, get in touch with the people at Southern, 662-429-4429. I should tell you also that Comer and Southern are sponsoring our coverage of Ole Miss's appearance in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on December the 30th. I'll be in Atlanta December the 26th through the game, courtesy of our friends at Comer and Southern. This will be a Friday Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase, what's going on at the Oxford Exxon?
There's still stuff going on. We got bowl season coming up this weekend, kicking off so many games over the weekend. I think 6 in one day. Get all the bowls you like. Nah, that's a lie. You get a lot of bad bowls. But nonetheless, you might need some alcohol to get through them. You're just trying to watch all the football. The Beer Cave at the Oxford Exxon, let them help you out. Head in, get all the alcohol that they have on site there. Again, hopefully you took advantage of some of those lunch specials this week. $5.69, 2 sides bread, any size fountain drink for those. I talked to Ben on the podcast this week. Neal said we could probably get your name back up on the board with something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Said we've been away from the Neal's chicken and dressing for a while, but he said we probably could. He was thinking because of your love for bananas, we could put your name on the banana pudding that they have available for the dessert there at the Oxford Exxon.
Yeah, that would not
Neal's Nanner Pudding.
Not be fitting, but hey, whatever. I'm in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Let Corey know what Ford product you're interested in. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Just right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. We'll take calls on the Campbell Clinic Hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102, just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. The Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care to pediatric orthopedics, physical therapy, and more. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. By the time you guys hear this, it will be old news, but we're on commitment watch here in the next hour or so. Lacy, the 4-star running back, Rivals 250 running back from Lancaster, Texas, set to make his announcement between Ole Miss, Alabama, and Missouri. I've got a story prepared. Adam Gorney, the national recruiting director for Rivals, I believe, has a story prepared as well. So in the event that it's Ole Miss, we'll have coverage for you.
Wall-to-wall coverage.
And in the event that it's not Ole Miss, I'll say, well, son of a bitch, I sure thought it was. I'll delete that. You'll never see it.
Telling you, the best coffee table book of all time would be stories that never got published. What might have been coffee table book.
If you kept them, I should have kept them.
And just laid them out.
Good. Hey, this would be funny.
Yeah.
Rich Rodriguez, Alabama coach. That would have been.
That's the cover.
That's the cover story.
Yeah, that's the cover of this thing.
Rich Rodriguez would have been the cover story. A big picture of Rich Rodriguez down in Jacksonville accepting a Gator Bowl bid as the head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers.
I see with our YouTube, the admin part of the YouTube stream, that we have some new toys to play with. In the past, when you banned somebody, it was just permanent. You've kicked them off the island, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Now they're telling me that we can do 24 hours a week or some other links of the ban. So you're not completely thrown off the ship when you're banned right now.
I've never banned anybody from YouTube. You have, and they disappeared.
Has it not been more pleasant?
Ever. It has been so
okay.
Nice.
I honestly didn't know it was forever when I did it. I kind of did it and went, oh, whoops. Like it was kind of like, hey, don't hit the button, and you hit the button and went, oh, well, all right, that's what that is. So, couple of things. We didn't get around to the schedule coming out. It came out at 6:00 last night. Neal and I were on the phone when it came out, and about 30 minutes later, went, "Oh yeah, I'll be damn, the schedule's out." Kind of forgot about the TV show that was going on. We didn't hit that, and then one bit of news that has come out today since we talked this morning and spent our hour on the NCAA backing off there from a court situation with the multi-year transfers and them being eligible. They did what they always do, which is find a way to screw it up. They have done that by now in a press release that they put out in a Q&A fashion. They've released a Q&A press release thing from their website. It's got their letterhead on it, the whole thing. There are two questions that I think apply to any situation that we would care about right now. And that is that, one, they are, and this is the part that actually kind of pisses me off. This is the part that I hate worse than the other.
Okay.
Is they're pausing all waiver rulings during this 2-week period.
Why?
So they literally are just taking 2 weeks off and not going to confirm or deny any of the damn waivers.
Why?
I don't know. I didn't ask NCAA Emily, but that's what she said. It's not Emily anymore. She's doing something else.
Well, whoever replaced her is an idiot.
If an institution has a legislative relief waiver pending during the 14-day TRO, will the waiver continue to be reviewed and processed by the NCAA staff or NCAA Division I Committee for Legislative Relief? Answer: all 4-year undergraduate transfer waivers requesting relief of bylaw whatever will be paused until at least the December 27th hearing. Please do not cancel or withdraw your case from request, self-report online, whatever. And the one that everybody is up in arms about today, and as they should be. Question number 4. Does the season of competition legislation apply if a student athlete competes during the 14-day TRO? Yes, the 14-day TRO only enjoined by law 14551 and does not change the season of competition legislation. So if Brandon Murray were to play and the NCAA wins, he loses the year of eligibility off 3 basketball games.
All right, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
If he only played 3 games, that would be less than 10% of the season.
I don't know the
basketball. Still be eligible for a red shirt?
I thought with basketball you were out once you played. I could be wrong.
Okay.
That's not a sport that I'm aware of that well, but I do not believe he would be eligible to maintain the season if he played for 2 weeks.
So the odds are overwhelming he will not play Saturday against California.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you just think, hey, by the time next year gets here, the NCAA ain't got any freaking teeth, and okay, fine,
might not
whatever.
Exist.
Exactly. You might just go, fine, whatever. We'll gamble on the courts to win this one. Because look, the UNLV kid played last night, and they beat Creighton.
He played.
Yeah.
But see, yesterday the understanding was that I hate them so much.
They sought clarification today, and they went, well, no. We're not going to put you on probation if you play, but yeah, if you play in those 2 games, your season, it counts. They suck.
My anticipation is that the ruling is going to be upheld.
But would you play Brandon Murray?
I don't know. I'd talk to Brandon and find out what he wanted to do. If he wanted to play, I'd
because
play.
Unlike Cisse, I think Murray was, like, even if he's ineligible all year, was going to hang around and play next year.
Yeah. So an attorney sent me this, if I can find it. I don't know that I can. Yeah, maybe I can. He says, I'll give you one legal tidbit on the NCAA thing. One of the elements to get the preliminary injunction is that you have to show that you have a likelihood of success at trial. So it's very rare that if it is granted, you get a different permanent ruling.
Because they are ruling by saying, we're going to go ahead and put this in place because we think you're going to win.
Correct. Look at you.
Yeah. I was a political science pre-law major for a year.
You could have gone to Harvard Law.
Probably not, but never took the LSAT. It's the waiver one that is driving me insane. Like, part of me, as much as I hate them, kind of goes, okay, I kind of get it.
Why?
We're just going to take 2 weeks off. Hey, we got beaten court, so because the waivers might not matter, we're just going to stop the process.
Was that them admitting that they're going to lose?
Maybe, but don't admit it out loud. Oh, we're working on it.
See, I kind of thought they admitted it out loud last night that they were going to lose.
Because now, if say Brandon Murray, say the NCAA wins, but Brandon Murray ends up being eligible by waiver. Well, all you did was take 2.5 weeks off now. You just cost the kid. It's so stupid.
Hey, caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, Neal, how y'all? This is Rodney.
We know Rodney. How you doing?
What's up, Rodney? How are you?
Well, I got another bone to pick with both of you. Earlier this week, I heard y'all talking about that movie, Rudy.
We've pissed off. Hold on. Let me stop you for a second. I need to.
That might have been the worst we've pissed anybody off.
I need to talk about this. So two things have happened to me in the last 24 hours regarding this movie. So hang on, Rodney. We're going to get to you. Hold on. I walked into my gym, and Ryan, the guy who manages my gym, was like, "What'd you say about Rudy?"
Seriously?
Yeah. And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, a bunch of people were in here pissed off about what you said about Rudy." And I was like, whatever. And then today, my son came in, and he, one of his friend's dads had said to him that he'd heard the podcast and that Rudy was his favorite movie.
Not even sports movie, but favorite
movie, and that he didn't like the Rocky movies. And he was really upset with our take. So go ahead, Rodney, pile on, beat up. Go ahead, take your gloves off and throw some punches, man.
Well, I will say this. I do like the Rocky movies. I actually love them. But I will go, I'm not so dogmatic on the Rudy movies. I can take it or leave it. But I will go along with y'all on this, but y'all definitely have to go along with me on this movie that I'm about to bring up. Because I can't stand this movie I'm about to bring up. I hate it with a passion. The Blind Side. I think it made Ole Miss and Michael Orr look bad to me. The way they portrayed him in that movie is awful to me.
What all do you hate about it?
Just the way they portrayed Orr. Is that a bad? Like when he was, oh my God. I hate that movie. I always hated that movie. I do like Sandra Bullock in that movie. I think she's unreal. I think she's a great actress.
She won the Best Actress Oscar for that movie. Right?
I mean, I gotta give her. I'm not knocking her, but the way they portrayed Orr in there, my God, you got to be have some sense to play offensive line. And the way they portrayed him is like he didn't have no sense at all. To me, they did. And I don't know. I never had liked it, the way they portrayed him in that movie. Maybe I'm just being too paranoid, taking it for a box.
What's your favorite sports movie, Rodney?
My favorite one is probably. Now I know y'all probably won't like this, but I like Hoosiers myself.
It's okay. I don't hate it as much as I do Rudy and Field of Dreams.
I don't care for Field of Dreams, but I'm not big on baseball. So I really don't care about that. But I like Hoosiers, and Rudy's okay.
Field of Dreams is stupid. Field of Dreams is stupid because it's like Ghost coming back and playing baseball. It's just idiotic.
Spoilers. The hell?
I'm sorry. Hoosiers is at least sort of based on a true story.
Yeah, Hoosiers is okay.
Hoosiers is okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
take some literary leaps, but that's all right.
Yeah. And, but that's, I mean, I don't know. The Blind Side has always bothered me. But I do have a football question before I get out here. Now I don't keep up with recruiting. I'm in my mid-40s now. I used to try to too, and think about it nowadays, no way. I just want to tell me when they start and when this bowl game's over, and then I'm done till the next season. But I have kept up with it a little bit since we're just coming off the end of the season. Look like we're bringing a lot back and might be having some good pieces coming in, but how in the world is Missouri pulling in some of these players? They got some good NIL up there like that.
Yeah, Missouri and Ole Miss are so similar right now in terms of the way that they're structuring their programs that it's incredible. I mean, it's
They're both pulling in a lot of right directions.
they're literally there's not much difference between the two programs right now. They're very, very similar.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Missouri. I'm proud for them.
No, their NIL number and Ole Miss's NIL number are incredibly similar. They recruit the portal in very similar ways. They have had success recruiting high schoolers the way that they're doing it. Man, I mean, there's just not a hell of a lot of difference between Missouri and Ole Miss right now. I mean, the color that they wear, that's about it. I mean, they literally, in terms of structure and how they do things, it's incredible how similar it is.
Y'all care if I ask you one more question?
No, we're here for you, Rodney. We can turn this into the Rodney Show if you want to.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Could be some other people trying to call. But anyway, I got one more, and y'all might not know the answers. But is Judkins coming back and Perkins? Do we know if we got them boys coming?
I've heard no issue with Perkins whatsoever.
Yeah, I've heard nothing about Perkins, okay. and my anticipation is that Judkins will come back. I suspect that will get addressed publicly here fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
Look, in the event that he didn't, I think they have some. I think they have some backup plans they would go to, but I've not heard anyone that I would deem credible to indicate that Quinshon's not going to be at Ole Miss next season.
Well, that's good. Well, that's all I was wanting to talk to y'all about tonight. So I'll probably just talk to y'all later after the bowl game sometime.
Well,
sounds good.
Merry Christmas to you and yours, Rodney.
Merry Christmas, fellas.
Yes, Draft Day is the most unrealistic sports movie in history,
That's
even
horrible.
beyond Field of Dreams.
It's horrible.
No, I like a ton of sports movies, and I like some sports movies that are dumb. It doesn't have to be some critical affair. I mean, Caddyshack's hilarious.
I like Days of Thunder.
We like For Love of the Game, for God's sake.
I love For Love of the Game. I don't like it. I've watched it 407 times.
Slapshot's a great sports movie. Bull Durham.
Bull Durham's awesome.
I like The Bad News Bears, the original.
Yeah, of course.
Great sports movie.
Who wouldn't?
My bad movie that I really like is The Program, the football movie. It's awful, but I just like it.
It's okay. I like Major League.
Yeah.
But man, we upset some people with this Rudy thing. I mean, we've created problems for. I've created problems for someone in my life. Hey, welcome to the show. Who do we have?
Hey, Neal. This is Candler.
Hey, what's up?
I am currently sitting outside Yankee Stadium, trying to cross over the George Washington Bridge to get back to Rhode Island.
I was going to say they don't play tonight.
No, they don't. They don't. But I don't know if you've ever had the privilege of trying to drive through New York.
I have.
City and the Bronx, but
I have.
It's the most miserable thing. It's awful.
I have driven exactly where you're talking about, right by Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and that is not fun.
So if there were no traffic, how long is your drive?
No. Well, today I'm just coming from Virginia, so if there's no traffic, it's 9 hours. If I was going all the way back to Georgia, it's 16.
Yeah, sure, of course.
But but I got a German Shepherd that needs to be home for Christmas, and we have a basketball game 2 days before Christmas, and then a basketball game 3 days after Christmas, and so I have to fly home. So my loving father met me in Virginia to pass off my dog, because all those people that started bringing snakes and ostriches on the planes ruined it for the rest of us that had animals that could fly on planes with no problem. So that's a lot.
But you still would be eligible to fly him. It's just that you don't know what else is on the plane. What's the main issue with that? Because I mean, I understand what you mean about service animals. You're right, but what's the acute issue?
Yeah, I had him. When I lived in Arizona, I kind of threw my ethics and morals out the window and got him listed as an emotional support animal. so that I could fly with them because I'm not going to put them under the plane.
Yeah, sure.
And like, I've seen Homeward Bound, so yeah, I'm not going down that road. But yeah, so I'm like, nope. But yeah, he used to fly. They would upgrade me to first class so that he would have his like own row to himself, and it was great. But yeah, now I have to logistically figure out how to get my parents' favorite grandchild / child home because they love the dog more than me. That's like 100%. So if they had to pick one to be home for Christmas, they'd pick him. And if Candler shows up, great. So
if you had an emotional support pony, he could go into NFL games and stadiums.
Really? Pony?
Yeah, they allow dogs and ponies as emotional
really?
support animals. That's correct.
Hey, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Chase, when y'all inevitably make that book with all of the stories that went to the graveyard and never got seen, I got something else you can add to it.
All right.
My part of the sports world is all of the creative stuff that never got to see the light of day. So the conference champion graphics or the national champion graphics, or a great example would be you remember those Hypnotoad videos that TCU kept putting out?
Yeah.
Whenever they won last year, they had a incredible one lined up for that national championship that they had been working on for a week.
That's a good point.
That just got deleted. Never saw the light of day. I put together some really, really good graphics and video stuff over the years, and then we can't follow through and never got to see the light of day. It's really sad. There's a graveyard for creatives, but I can definitely resonate with all the stories that y'all put together.
I wish I'd kept them, but I didn't keep any of them.
I'm sure you could probably rewrite them.
No,
they're all fresh in your brain, right?
I could not rewrite them. The one that would be funny, actually, is all of the game stories that you wrote, where you're writing 2 game stories at one time, and you obviously go with the one that happened, but the one that didn't happen would be funny now.
100%. Like different schools, like the live updates for games. Baseball's been the worst one, but there's been like 2 or 3 times where I've got the final score graphic ready and it's docked, and then we give up that 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, and you go to with 2 outs, and you accidentally click post instead of delete, and then everybody gets really confused really quickly. That's a lonely life. But hey, and kudos to Chase for Chase is responsible for the whole NCAA thing yesterday, because on Tuesday you were wondering what y'all were going to talk about all day today.
That hadn't been a problem this week. I mean, we had a couple topics that still were in the can that didn't come up. So you're right. Look, it's kind of always something right now in college athletics. That's not really the issue. Just give it 48 hours and all hell will break loose in some way. So.
100%. We've got a player here that is easily one of our better players that is currently sitting on the bench. So we all kind of raised an eyebrow when that news came out. I'm not in favor of it, because I agree with kind of what y'all are saying, is that kind of throws NCAA into complete and utter chaos that they'll never recover from. In my personal opinion, not my professional opinion that's endorsed by anybody, just my own personal opinion. But
we appreciate the call.
Neal, you ready to go to Atlanta?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not ready right this moment, but yeah, I'll be ready to go when the time comes. I'm gonna enjoy some time off and the holidays, and then I'll enjoy Atlanta. I hadn't been to Atlanta in a long time.
it's a good time. Sorry to say the battery is going to be a little out of your range. It's kind of on the opposite part of town, but it'll be a good time. The last time we were in the Peach Bowl, I almost fought the TCU mascot. So we were getting skull drug on the field, and I was about to drag a toad skull across the locker room at halftime. So that was fun.
Well, hey, we appreciate the call. Have safe travels and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Had multiple people dinging in.
Rodney had asked about Missouri when you and I were going over the schedules last night. Missouri and Ole Miss might have the two most friendly outside of just Bama and Georgia because they're good schedules in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
was
hard to find a lot of losses.
I wouldn't mind actually putting $100 on an Ole Miss Missouri SEC title game and see what my odds are.
Just in case something went a little, yeah.
Wouldn't be crazy. I mean, you and I got Missouri. We had Missouri at 11-1,
and Ole Miss at basically 10-2, just because stuff happens.
We had Ole Miss at 10-2, losing at LSU, which I think is a very winnable game.
Yeah.
So if you told me both Ole Miss and Missouri are in the SEC championship game next year, I'm not just floored. They're both kind of have it going on. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Can you hear me? It's Russell.
Hey,
Russell, what's up?
Hey, man. I was want to talk about, I talked about this morning, talking about how it's going to be the wild, wild west now with two-time transfer and everything. It got me thinking, so if it's totally fine to transfer 2 times, so what will now make it legal for there to be a portal window? Couldn't they just portal at any point? What makes that legal for them to allow that? Also,
there is a rule in place that if you start a season for one team, you can't play for another team. Now, they can negate that rule at some point.
So why would the school have rights to the player if that would make them an employee, right? So they couldn't do trades because then they would tell the player where they have to go. Obviously, that's probably
we're not at the point yet of making a kid change his academic status to another school that may or may not have his major or his hours or his ability whatsoever.
Or that he doesn't desire to go to.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
We're a long way from that.
That's not going to I agree. That's not going to happen. So, why couldn't they contest the portal window? Why couldn't a player leave after the third game if they wanted?
Well, I mean, I guess the point is if you had a rule that says you can't play for multiple teams in 1 year, I mean, there would be no reason to jump into the portal.
You can jump in the portal now after 3 weeks, but you just can't play. You can't go anywhere until the next window.
Why not?
Because those are the rules.
Well, why? But if the NCAA has no teeth, why can they just contest that rule?
I mean, I guess somebody could contest that rule. They'd have to take it to court.
Right. I mean, you think the judge would rule in favor of the players or the NCAA?
I do think at some point it's just, hey, we have to avoid anarchy at some point. I mean, like, I understand what you're saying. I'm not even really disagreeing, but I mean.
No, I agree with you. I'm just going the slippery slope. It's very slippery now.
Oh, I mean, that's the biggest thing is, I mean, yeah, what you're looking up and saying is, hey, you're not actually even doing antitrust. You're doing, hey, the NCAA, you have no ability to create a rule. Because the NIL rules have already been superseded by state legislatures. So the rules don't count there either.
Exactly. So I'm just right. So if a player can transfer after, who's to say why does it have to be after a certain period of time? If they can, So I just think that this could go a long way. I mean, really, there's no end to it.
There's an end to it.
The whole end to it. I guess I don't.
Yeah.
The hard argument with that would be, how is the portal window posing a problem with you maximizing your ability? You know what I mean? Because you did choose that institution.
Oh, I agree.
So, and there's a window that's going to give you multiple opportunities prior to the next season. You're cool. Whatever you want to do. It's sweet.
I mean, clearly a player could say, well, Yeah, I know, but the argument in the court case, earnings potential because he was not allowed to play.
Correct.
I mean, what if, so-and-so school calls Trey Harris after the third game? You go, you know what? If you came and played for us next week against Auburn, you could double your salary.
I mean,
he's like, yeah, I could.
My common sense meter is going off here where a judge would probably rule that was.
I agree with that. I agree with you, Neal. Mine is too. I do.
And listen, but I'm one of the people.
Like anything's possible.
But I'm one of the people that has always thought what happened yesterday was likely. I've always thought that the one-time transfer thing was very arbitrary. I mean, I always have. I've looked at it. I realize that it creates chaos and all those things, but I've always said, well, what's magical about one time as opposed to 2 times or 4 times? I mean, I've always said that. I mean, I've been pretty consistent on this. That it's not that I think it's a good idea. I don't. But the idea that a normal student, I mean, I'll use my daughter, right? Caroline. Let's say Caroline had started at Arkansas, and she went a year, and she didn't like it, and she transferred to Ole Miss for a year, and she didn't like it, or she got through with the year and was like, you know what, I'm not. I need to be challenged more or something. And then she transferred to Stanford, and she went to Stanford for a year and was like, oh, this is too hard, and then transferred to Utah. She could do that. I mean, she might lose some hours here and there, but she absolutely could do that. So the question is, why couldn't an athlete do that? Just because they can throw or kick or a ball or something, they can't do the same thing that Caroline can do academically? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, they can. They're just not given ability to play football immediately.
But
they can go wherever they want to go.
Why? Why? Caroline could play intramural soccer at all those places if she wanted to.
It's intramural. They can too.
Well, right, but why? So why? I mean, that's what I'm asking. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but every time I think about it, I'm like, well, why not? I mean, because it's inconvenient to coaches. And listen,
but I guess like this is complete devil's advocate, but that is so far that way to the same thing as when you go, well, okay, they're still students. The scholarship should be plenty for you. Why not just you get your scholarship and you get your free school? There'd be a lot of kids like Caroline that would love to have every damn thing paid for.
So would her dad.
$70,000 in excessive stuff. Why do you need to get paid? We're giving you more than we're giving anybody else.
I'm with you.
That's the same thing. Of why?
I get it.
But why?
I know.
I mean,
we opened this. Why did we open this whole Pandora's box? When did we do it? Answer me. When did we do it? Both of you, answer me. When did we do it? Why did we do it? When did we do it? I know the answer, so go ahead. When did this all come about?
I mean, O'Bannon kicked it off.
But when did it really get going?
Oh, we went into essentially the pandemic, but the social of everybody is getting what you can get.
The summer of 2020.
Yeah.
And here we are.
It does sound
and everybody
though, thinking about it, moving every year. I've thought about that like in college.
Everybody gets mad at me for still pushing back about 2020, but here we are.
I mean, yeah, that's when it happened. No question.
That's where we are. We are where we are because in 2020, everyone throughout our society overreacted to the same handful of things. And here we are. Actions have consequences.
Neal, you brought up this morning about the Indiana player, and I'm sure this is happening everywhere. The guys that test the market and don't get what they want, then they go back. There is a finite amount of money. It's not like every player can leave and just go make more money somewhere else.
Oh, 100%.
No, they get trapped every year.
100%. Missouri, for example, I think Missouri's NIL situation right now is about $15 million. They have $15 million to fund their roster. Not 15.8 or 16.2, 15. So you have to make it work. And if you're a program that has half of that, you have to make it work. It's real money. It's not monopoly money.
So to manage your roster going forward, say this is the case, and it's unlimited transfer. Let's just say it's not 1 or 2, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
So to manage your roster, your players, your coaches have to identify probably 40 players or less.
So see, you just
on their roster.
So you just nailed it. So here's the deal. If we go to unlimited transfers, what's going to happen, and this is going to upset a lot of people, is a ton of people are going to lose opportunity because these schools like Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, LSU, Florida, Ohio State, Michigan, they're not going to carry 85 scholarships anymore. They're going to carry about 60 guys.
Well, they're going to have 40 players that are, say, the A team. Okay? And those 40 players, whatever number it is,
they're going to run.
They can't lose those.
They're going to run an NFL roster.
They're going to get everything.
Yes, they're going to. They're going to run.
They're going to get everything.
They're going to run an NFL roster. They're going to give.
Exactly.
They're going to take that $15 million, and instead of spreading it over 80 guys, they're going to spread it over 50 guys. And they're not even going to.
And the rest is the practice squad.
And the school is not going to fund those other scholarships. They're going to save money that way.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, you got to break off to do that because you're taking
like,
opportunities away. To change that 85, you got to break off.
It's coming.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with breaking off. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But
I mean, does Ole Miss have 85 scholarship players today?
close.
I mean, somewhere.
It always fluctuates around, but yeah.
Near
Sure.
it. Yeah, sure. 82, 83, whatever.
I just think you identify during the season, we can't let these 35 or 40 players leave, period. We coddle them. We do everything for them, and the rest is the practice squad.
Yeah, and I mean, if Chase is right, for example, I'm just kind of thinking on the fly, and you have to have 85, then you give the last 20 dudes that used to be walk-ons, you just give them scholarships. You don't give them a cent of NIL. You give them scholarships, and they're essentially the practice squad.
That's the NFL practice squad.
Yeah.
They get to go, they get their meals and stuff like that. But, if they're hurt, we got to really deal with these 40 guys first. And those other guys, I just think that's what's coming. And you have to do everything in your power to keep them. And when a player over this is just a little better than the guy on the 40, that guy and that 40 goes to the practice squad and the new guy comes in. It's NFL. But having to manage it yearly or even twice, it seems very difficult. I think staffs are going to get even bigger than they are now. I mean,
I don't think we're far away from a capologist and a general manager.
But here's the question.
A board.
But here's the question, and I've asked this question to people today. Even if that system comes into play, does that turn your fandom off? Be honest. Does that turn your fandom off?
No, but there's some structure to it.
Not at all.
In a way. There's a structure that just sort of happens organically because you are keeping those guys for multiple years.
Yeah.
Maybe not contractually, but you are.
Which is why the other side of this is like, see, it still works. And I'm kind of like, yeah, it kind of does. I mean, whatever,
I think the only thing not the only thing. People could get disenfranchised by many things, but the main thing that turns fans off is losing. And
100%.
Oh, a million percent. I mean, a million percent. I mean, Chase and I have talked about this the other night, so I'll share the conversation. Let's change a few plays in the Ole Miss season, okay? Don't get mad at me. Let's change a few plays.
I get it.
Instead of 4th and 20, instead of at the 25, LSU doesn't get a couple of illegal procedures, and they score there, and they kick the extra point, and they win 56-55. Let's say for the sake of this conversation that my theory that the LSU game was 2 games in 1 is true, and that
you don't get the 4th and 1,
and that 4th and 1, if you remember, that wasn't the best snap in the world. Let's say that the snap was bad. Quinshon falls on the ball. Arkansas gets it at the Ole Miss 30. They drive down, score another touchdown. You lose to Arkansas. Okay, you're 3-3. Now let's have the Texas A&M kick at the end doesn't get blocked. He makes it,
and they win in overtime.
And then let's have
that's even enough.
Okay, 8-4. 8-4. So you're 8-4, and right now
Neal's got Mercer.
No, that's 5. Neal. That's 5. That's
okay.
7 and 5.
Okay, that's 7 and 5. So if you're 7-5 and you're getting ready to go to the Music City Bowl instead of the Chick-fil-A Bowl, how much NIL money is I'm asking. This is not rhetorical. I'm asking.
Yeah.
How excited is
I don't know
everybody?
from the NIL
How much NIL is out
I
there?
don't know from the NIL standpoint, but if you remember last year, Neal, during the Auburn deal, there were people, and heck, I may have been one of them, like, just let him go. I mean, people turn quick, and it's winning and losing. That's it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you brought up Arkansas, and you brought them, this morning. There's nobody at their games.
No. No, I was at their game against Mississippi State. It was very flat.
That had nothing to do, in my opinion, about who was on their team. If all of 85 of those players had been there for 10 years, nobody would have been at their game. So they lost.
Yeah, it wouldn't have had 20,000 more people because Bumper Pool was playing.
No, they wouldn't have. I mean,
can I think about that? I don't know. Let me think about that.
A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf were homegrown Ole Miss players. How many people went to their game?
I think that helps.
Yeah, but how many had it not been there? How many people would have been there? I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that.
Nobody was there anyway.
Yeah, but
nobody was there anyway.
There was more than nobody. There was more than nobody.
Well, there was more than nobody. Yeah, but it wasn't a hard ticket.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying I don't know. I mean, these are these conversations that Chase and I had this conversation this morning. These are these conversations that we have on the fly, and I like to try to think about this and kind of let a thought marinate in my mind, which is not live podcasting. I don't know. I think when you have a team full of people that your fan base doesn't relate to, and they essentially become renegades.
Yeah.
If you win, they're cheer for the laundry. If you lose, they're like, screw it. But if you have a team full of guys that have played for the team, that have been there, that you feel like you know them, in tough times, you almost rally harder around them.
I think I agree with you. I think the stadium is better. The NIL is not any better.
I'll give you an example. Go back to 2022, November of 2022. You mentioned Bumper Pool, and that's what created this thing in my mind. Bumper Pool played at Arkansas for 13 years.
Yeah.
Arkansas did not have a good season. They did not have a good season last year. But when Ole Miss came to town for senior night,
everybody came.
It was cold. They had a whole bunch of seniors, including a bunch of seniors that fan base really liked, that they viewed had been through the wars with them. And y'all, that atmosphere was different. That's why when people have been like, oh, it was that inexcusable loss, I'm like, no, I don't buy it. Arkansas was really dialed in that night. Their fans were there early for senior night, only because you had guys like Bumper Pool who'd been there since the Jefferson administration. I mean,
they were 5-5 at the time.
They'd lost to Liberty.
Uh-huh.
And they were there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a fine line. Look at Auburn last year.
Yeah.
At the end of Auburn's season remember Auburn's season last year? Auburn sucked. And they did the Carnell thing, and people rallied for those kids.
They did.
So I don't know that I totally buy that. I think you really roll the dice when you go full renegade. If you win, it's awesome. Because everybody loves winning. Winning solves all problems. But if you don't win, it's bad.
Oh, it's bad. I mean, A&M and South Carolina, I mean, those are the examples you look at. I mean, if you win it's good for us right now because we've won. But like you're right, say we're 7-5 and we lose 5-6 starters to the portal. That's what would probably happen. That's what happened to South Carolina. It's what's happened to A&M. Hell, even Tennessee is losing starters.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, knock on wood, we haven't lost starters.
Oklahoma.
Knock on wood.
Oklahoma is a blue blood. They've lost their entire offensive line to the portal.
Right.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Hell, and they went 10-2.
I mean, they
went 10-2.
I mean, I listen. I'm sure Missouri did this on the up and up, but there was some pre-portaling going on with one of, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to be the guy that casts stone. I mean, are people tampering with Quinshon Judkins? Of course. Did Ole Miss tamper with Pooh Paul? You bet. I mean, it's
look at you. Whoa.
Corey Thornton at UCF. I mean, these guys. I did do the nickname. Yeah, people do the thing. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's what everybody does. I mean,
What do we,
the landscape has
Neal,
totally
what do
changed.
you make of Oklahoma? Neal, what do you make of the Oklahoma situation?
I don't know.
They seem to be like the main winning team that is losing players. Is it offensive court? I mean, it's certainly not Levy leaving because they're not going to state. It doesn't appear, but
I don't
that
know.
one's really odd to me.
I mean, it's a weird thing because you think of Oklahoma as this powerhouse, and maybe they're not ready from an. I don't know enough about them to really dive into what's happened there, but they've lost a lot of players in the portal.
That one's like the main one in the country that really seems odd. Like you could see Florida and South Carolina A&M, but that one's odd.
Yeah,
but it could certainly happen to us. Like I've said, it could happen to us.
It could happen.
6-6.
It could happen to anybody. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Hey, thank you for the call.
Right,
we
guys.
real appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. See you, man. You too.
That's the thing. You lose just a couple more games, and that NIL and that entertainment and that excitement falls off just a touch, and that makes such a big difference. I mean, it is catastrophic what the fall is.
Yeah,
off a couple plays.
Yeah,
because Ole Miss and Missouri. I mean, we mentioned it. Ole Miss and Missouri are two programs that are sitting here managing their roster pretty well right now in the early days of the portal, and that's why when you go through and you do this dumb win-loss thing in mid-December, you go, hey. Got a chance to keep it rolling. If it ever falls off at all, getting it back's hell.
Who do we have? Hey, caller.
Hey, guys, it's Robin.
Hey, Robin, what's up?
Not much. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Neal, how'd Carson and them do this week? I know they had a big game.
They lost 2-0 in Hernando on what was night? Tuesday?
I think it was Tuesday.
And they play Horn Lake here in about an hour and a half.
Okay, I got you. Now, is he starting this year? Or?
Yeah, he started as a sophomore. This is his second year as a starter.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm going to see y'all next Saturday at the Coast Coliseum, right?
No, no. If you'd like if you'd like to cover that for us, we can make this up with the work. No, I'm not.
I'm taking my mom and my dad. It's just going to be a big old Rebel Grove party on the coast.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over particularly well in my house. Driving to Biloxi on the 23rd. I don't question them.
The day before Christmas? No.
Yeah, and
that feels problematic. I'm just gonna tell the truth.
Nope. That's not gonna happen.
You know, I bought those tickets super early, thinking it was going to be a packed house, and I actually checked Ticketmaster the other day, and I think they've maybe sold 1,000 tickets. Like, I mean, I'm taking my mom and my dad. They haven't been to an Ole Miss basketball. I don't think my mom ever has. My dad hadn't been in probably 30 or 40 years. So I was like, we're going to get good seats. And then I looked, I was like, shit, I could have waited. It's just, I don't think it's going to be a big crowd.
No, they're just getting out of Oxford. There's just no reason to do a bunch of games that time of year. So it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, the day before Christmas Eve that's not good timing. That's not good timing. Random question. I noticed this today on Twitter. So Patrick Willis is apparently, I think he made the semi-finalist list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know how many years in a row I'm sure he's made it a bunch of years in a row now. Does he get in?
Did he get in or will he get in?
Will he get in? He's not in there yet.
Probably. Some of his, he obviously, elite at his position even in college. I don't know how much, I have no clue. I don't know anything about the College Football Hall of Fame. I have no clue what team wins matter, and he played on 3 bad teams, and he was a freshman that didn't really play on the Cotton Bowl team.
No, I'm talking about the pro football.
Oh,
one.
I thought you meant college. Sorry,
He's
my
already
fault.
in the college one.
Yeah, I think he gets in. I know he's got I know he has a short career. I get all that, but I think that especially as time goes on, they're not going to penalize guys for that as much when they're elite during their prime and they're fairly smart about protecting their bodies and getting out.
See, that's kind of my point because I feel like, in today's environment, I don't know if it's media or just the NFL, they not reward, but they wouldn't hold that against certain players. That now that we know, about CTE and just all the injury stuff with football, I feel like maybe if guys retire too early, they'd get penalized for it, if that makes sense. I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting he's not in, and apparently he's been up for it a few years in a row now. Which, hot take, his story is more inspirational than Michael Orr's. I don't know if y'all ever watched the E60. Did y'all even watch E60? I don't even know if it's a thing now, but back in the day, it was like their documentary show they do once a week.
I remember this happening, but I don't recall anything from it, to be honest.
Yeah, they did a feature on him, and I had no idea that he grew up in a very poverty-stricken home in like Tennessee, and one of his basketball coaches basically adopted him, and he actually it's a pretty crazy story. I think he had a sibling pass away like right before he was drafted, and he ended up being, at one point he was the best linebacker in football for a few years. Was it him that knocked the shit out of Reggie Bush in that divisional game, Chase, or was it someone else?
I don't remember. I have blacked that game out from everything except for Vernon Davis. I've told this. I watched that game around tons of Ole Miss people who were just wearing Willis jerseys because he played for them. It was a very miserable 3 hours. It was one of the worst.
Dude.
It was one of the worst periods of like my sports fandom I've ever had. Just surrounded by sidewalk 49ers fans.
Oh, Jesus. The next year was the Sean Payton suspension year, right?
Was that the next year? Yeah, I guess so, because that would have been the year had they won, the Giants would have come to the Dome for the NFC title game.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we blew out New York in the Dome.
You did on Monday Night Football. I was there. Yeah, that is correct. They had beaten the Giants really bad in New Orleans earlier in the season.
I watched the Saints game for 2 seasons. I was in high school and then in college, and I don't think I watched. I think I just completely glossed over the 2012 season for sure. 2013, I think we made the playoffs, so I probably tuned in. But yeah. I saw. You'll love this, Chase. I looked up a mock draft for 2024. A couple people have the Saints taking Jaden Daniels in the first.
Oh, really? Well, they better find some damn body. It can't be Derek Carr again next year. I don't care what they're paying.
They're just going to have to bite the bullet.
Yeah, you just have to make it work.
Bite the bullet. Yeah, but all right, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks. Is there some buzz out there about Kawan Lacy to
Steve Wilfong has said it's Missouri.
Oh.
Or crystal balled him or whatever the hell they're calling it.
Oh.
That's significant. That's not nothing.
He's a pretty good guy.
I would think, it's where we struggle on a live show because I can't do much about it. There's only so much that. But yeah, that's not a good. It's not a good sign.
No, that would be a significant blow. In fact, he's a guy that I think Ole Miss felt like. I shouldn't do this in past tense. Ole Miss feels like I'm told as of this hour, it will be a quote shock to the staff end quote. And I just talked to someone, texted someone close to the Missouri program who said, quote, Mizzou thought it was Ole Miss an hour ago.
Okay. When is this going on? It's like now, right?
6 o'clock.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up?
This is the Punter 87. I thought I'd call in since I live in Charleston, West Virginia, and I'm a litigator, and I practiced in front of Judge Bailey. I had a trial in front of him last year. I thought I'd give some color on the judge and
fire
the
away.
NCAA ruling.
Yeah, fire away.
So He is a cowboy. He's a really smart dude. Ivy League educated, but he's a West Virginian through and through. Like when you go to trial with him, he eats at the restaurant next to the Wheeling Courthouse every day. His wife comes and he sits there, and he has a holster. He has a gun holstered in his button-down shirt. And if you ever go back in chambers with him, it's sitting there kind of, but he's very thoughtful and he's very thorough, and he's very decisive in how he rules. So I am not shocked in the least. I have not studied the briefing in detail on what the NCAA's case was or what Wacom Battle's case was, but him granting a TRO against the NCAA does not shock me in the least. And if I'm a betting man, I do not like the NCAA's chances December 27th.
So that was my question.
If they got the TRO.
That was my question. Take me through what happens in this next hearing, December 27th. What does that look like?
So, they did a pretty formal TRO hearing. Typically a TRO, it's temporary. So federal court, 14 days. I think state court, maybe 10 days. You can even get those ex parte, which means you don't have to have the other party involved. You just kind of go and you get it, and it restrains the party from doing it. Well, there was notice in this one, and they actually put on some witnesses. So to get the relief, there was evidence put on. Now, the preliminary injunction phase probably will be more evidence, but going to be a little duplicative of what was already presented. And so, from Wacom, and I'll talk from WVU's perspective in the case, because that's the team I would know. They've put on that evidence of his hardship, of his prejudice, of their likelihood of success already. It's not going to be that hard for the judge to say, hey, I'm going to grant that, and then the case will proceed on a permanent injunction. Now, the case likely on a permanent injunction, that might take a year, maybe a year and a half. But if he grants the preliminary injunction, for that period of time, these kids are going to have transfer rights. At least the kids subject to this case. And it sounds like the NCAA is kind of pivoting and saying, well, if it affects these kids in this case, we're going to apply it to everybody. Make sense?
Yeah, I think the reason they're doing that is all these attorneys general are making all these claims and stuff toward it. So, they're going to end up in the same place either way, especially once that precedent gets set, I would assume, right?
Yeah, you're going to have a decision from a federal court judge in the Northern District of West Virginia, and he's been on the bench since 1970s. So a pretty well-respected judge, and it's very easy to follow one judge once he's made that ruling. It's going to be harder to come back the judge, and it's the NCAA's got a tough case. They're not very likable. I know the counsel that is representing them in the case. So I'm going to mark it against them when they try to get clients. I'm going to say, hey, weren't you against WVU in the Recon battle case? But it's going to be a tougher to hoe. Now, just because they grant the preliminary injunction doesn't mean it will be a permanent injunction. Doesn't mean that the parties can't come to some agreement outside of the scope and magnitude of this case. But there'll be blood in the water if that's granted on December 27th. And I'd like to look at the briefing a little more, but, so it would not shock me in the least if it got granted.
So you're saying that obviously this TRO put it in context, so they're probably going to upheld the same way. But I know you don't know exact percentages, but just quantifying it, how often is a judgment reversed after a TRO is granted?
So it would depend on how you got the TRO.
Okay.
So if you got it ex parte and there wasn't a hearing and there wasn't evidence, very likely could get flipped on a whim with a preliminary injunction hearing, because a preliminary injunction hearing is a full bench hearing. You put on your witnesses, you put on evidence. It's unusual that you would do that at a TRO, except in exceptional circumstances, kind of like this case. So, because that's already been done somewhat and they had the hearing already, I would put it at a way better than 50% chance. I'd probably put it up at 80%. It's court. Anything can change. But
what all What all happened at the TRO hearing?
I would play Brandon Murray because I think it would get upheld. They put on some of their cases. I know they put on a couple of the athletes talking about their second transfer and kind of why they did it. And, I mean, you got a lot of subjectivity with the NCAA because they granted some of these waivers. You know, like Musa Cisse, for instance. They granted that waiver on appeal. And, like, for Wacom Battle, I know he says he left, and I think he's of Native American descent, and he had some issues with his other universities, but his was denied. And so you have those subjective decisions, and like, why is his denied, but then Musa Cisse is granted? And you get into a lot of arbitrariness, and that's kind of where the NCAA kind of gets undone.
Which is where they were going to be the entire time. It was always going to be this arbitrary thing when it was, hey, it's not allowed except for this, and it was such a subjective way to look at it. There was no way around that.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you really got to deny it for everyone, and then it is what it is. But I agree with Neal. They're not employees, and every student can transfer. So it begs to reason that anybody can transfer at any time. Now, maybe transcripts will change or something's going to change in the system, but it's going to head that way pretty fast.
And just clarifying this is, as you've explained this well, and I'm more because I'm an idiot, there is a chance of some sort of settlement where they meet in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, the Ohio AG, the West Virginia AG, I mean, they're protecting their interests. They don't. I mean, Patrick Morrissey doesn't care about whether Brandon Murray can play at Ole Miss, right? So I guess if they said, hey, Recon Battle, we're going to let him be eligible, we'll let this other person be eligible, there could be some deal that would be met that could stave off this case. But let's be real. If that happens, right, I don't know who the AG of Mississippi is now. It used to be Jim Hood when I was down there in law school. But they'll file their own case. And you're still going to have the hearing transcripts and the evidence that was put on in the Ohio versus NCAA case. Okay. And so, yeah, maybe you staved it off for a little bit, but you're still going to have another federal judge looking at it that has some bit of a roadmap of what's happening. And it's going to be tough to overcome your facts.
Yeah. Lynn Fitch is the Mississippi Attorney General now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been down there. I was in the nut years. So I got 2 good years of football, and then I got a really terrible year of football, and then a god-awful year when I started in West Virginia at 2-10. So when we're 10-2, I always remember we were 2-10, and it makes the Peach Bowl very sweet for me.
Sure.
But I rarely get to chime in being a West Virginia attorney, and Judge Bailey's a good judge, and that was not a favorable venue for West Virginia. But I think the first judge was Judge Klee, who was a huge Mountaineer. I mean, I think he sits on the court side of the basketball games. So, not shocking he would recuse himself from the proceedings.
Does a judge want that case? Do they lobby for that in any way?
So they don't lobby. They get assigned.
Okay.
This was by Ohio, so there may have been a conflict that led it from Ohio to West Virginia. And there's multiple cases intertwined into it because it's Ohio, West Virginia. I think there's a couple others. But Judge Bailey doesn't shy away from cases, and he doesn't shy away from decisions. I mean, he is a very decisive judge. You get some judges that don't rule, that are kind of analysis by paralysis. They're almost terrified of reversal, so they don't make decisions. He is not that. He will decide.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you're going to get a ruling on December 27th. He going to rule. I guarantee that. So we'll see how it plays out. But, it won't shock me if that's ultimately granted. And, for at least a year, you're going to you can transfer.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought, too. I mean, we were talking about this morning. And from a time standpoint, you would think it's at least a calendar year.
At least. So I don't know that you'll get the crazy roster upturnals that you guys are talking about, because I think generally kids that are happy and like their situation will just be content doing that. It's kind of like with work. I mean, if you like your job, you're not always job hunting constantly. but you're going to get some more upheaval. And then I think with this market, what we've seen a little bit with some of these guys is they think they're worth a lot and they're not worth as much as they think. And I think you'll see more of that going forward. And I think as this system plays out and teams are good, I agree. Look, Ole Miss has a lot of NIL because we're winning right now. If we were 7-6 or 7-5, we wouldn't have that. And you're going to have teams that lose, that are discouraged, and will be less players in the market space, for lack of a better word. And so it's new, and so there's a lot of uncertainty. But I think as this plays out, maybe down the line 5 years, it will be a little more certain, just like it was under the old model, where you had people obviously paying for these players under the table.
Hey, really appreciate the call. It was great stuff. Thank you.
No worries, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right,
See
thanks.
A lot of momentum towards Missouri on Kewan Lacy right now.
All the momentum.
I just talked to someone around Missouri who said they think they flipped him, but they don't know, and they also don't know how to watch the announcement. As of 6, whatever this is, he had not told Missouri he was going there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would assume Will Fong has some information believing that he's been flipped, and everyone followed Will Fong at that point.
Sam Spiegelman has said the same. He's flipped his projection to Missouri. Hey, who do we have?
Hello. What's up, guys? It's Austin.
Hey, Austin, what's up?
Oh, not much. I don't have a lot to say, guys. I just kind of wanted to ask y'all one quick question and get out of here. I just kind of wanted a little bit of a palate cleanser. So, taking all the shine away from recruiting, I just got to ask, what do you guys do for Christmas? Like, what do you guys got planned? I'm curious. Just what do y'all usually do?
We'll have immediate family at my house, and food wise, it's for a while now. It's been beef tenderloin for Christmas. I don't want to do the Thanksgiving thing again. So it's always like when I was growing up, my dad's family would always do steak and shrimp, and now it's turned into kind of a Chateaubriand, kind of that kind of side item. It's sort of it's turned into a beef tenderloin dinner deal with some results. I mean, dessert, side items, that kind of thing. I'll go. I'll have one in Amory still. My grandmother is still there on my dad's side, and I don't know. Just make sure Christmas is as good for the 7-year-old as possible. We kind of in peak age for that right now.
Love it. What about you, Neal?
We don't really have a set thing that we do. Food-wise, we do beef tenderloin every year for Christmas because I'm the same way as Chase. I don't want to repeat Thanksgiving and do a turkey and dressing and all that stuff because it's fine, but I'd rather do something different. My brothers are coming up this year. One's staying till the 23rd, one's staying till the 26th. We do Christmas Eve at my parents' house, and then we do Christmas at our house. I've been doing this Missouri thing for the last 30 minutes. I'm not exactly sure what everything I don't know. We don't really have a set tradition. We just that's kind of what we do.
Any gifts on Christmas Eve, or do you wait for the morning?
We used to do one gift on Christmas Eve and everything on Christmas morning, but now we just do Christmas morning.
Did they get to pick it, or did you pick it for them on the eve?
We picked it for them.
Okay.
But now we don't do anything until later. Jimmy the elf, our elf, my friend that lives at the North Pole, he usually, when the kids were little, he would come like I don't know, the 19th or 20th, but now that the kids are older, he'll just come like on the 22nd or 23rd.
Oh, so he still exists.
He still comes. He makes his trip.
You were way ahead of the elf on the shelf kind of deal.
I was way ahead. I should have.
You had it very expanded even before that became a thing.
I'd be rich today if I'd tried to turn Jimmy into a moneymaker, but it was just kind of our thing. And so the kids like it. I write a letter. Let me rephrase. Jimmy writes a letter every year that when they were little, the letter was a little more serious. Now the letter is a little more funny.
A little tongue in cheek now.
A lot tongue in cheek now. So we have some fun with that. Then we usually go for a family dinner to our favorite local establishment. We're going to St. Leo's on the 23rd. And then that's it's just, I don't know, kind of family stuff. What about you?
Oh, just me and the family are gonna get together at my grandmother's house in Pontotoc. Gonna take my girlfriend for the first time, get her to meet most of the family.
Oh,
gonna have a pretty good time. I know everybody's pretty excited for it, but really just kind of keep it low key, kind of like you guys said. I'll be honest with you, when y'all both said beef tenderloin, I just kind of got hungry. So I don't know. I just was curious what y'all were doing, and I know you guys been hard on it, and I just want to let y'all know that love you guys, and I hope you guys have just a really good Christmas.
I appreciate
think
it.
y'all earned it.
How long have you been with a girlfriend before this is the first time to meet the family?
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
No, I'm just curious. How long have you been with a girlfriend?
We've been together. We've been together now for about 3 months. She's met my immediate family, but not like my family. About 3.5, 4 months.
That's the big one. That's the more stressful one. Is everybody getting involved?
I'm just gonna. It is what it is. It is what it is
I
at
hear
this
you.
point. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm going into it knowing what it is. So I'm okay with it.
Hope that goes well.
But seriously, thank you, man. I appreciate it. But seriously, guys, have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It is Missouri for Q1 Lacy.
Yes, Q1 Lacy has committed to Missouri. I just posted on rebelgrove.com that he's done it. That's a shock. That is a literal shift in the last 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And someone said they paid him. I'm like, well, of course they had paid him. Everybody pays. I mean, yeah.
That's no longer an insult.
That's not the thing anymore. Yeah, it's a new world. It's also, you and I talk about this. What's true at 5 o'clock isn't always true at 6 o'clock. It's why the prediction people, God bless them.
Oh, the prediction people.
I just don't want to go there because you'll get killed. Hey, who do we have?
Will.
Hey, Will, what's up?
Just driving from Westchester back to Philly. It's been a couple bad weeks after I thought we served you crow, but it's been a bad couple weeks. What do you think is going to happen with the Florida guy? When's he announcing?
You talking about Princely Uman Malin?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I have no idea when anybody's announcing anything.
They keep saying it's imminent, and at some point when it's not imminent, you do at least wonder. But as of earlier today, everything seems still fine.
Yeah, I mean.
But as we just saw.
But as you just saw, I mean, Q1 Lacy was Ole Miss until he wasn't. So, I mean, he'll either announce it or he won't,
Did he go
right?
to Missouri?
Yes.
Oh, darn it. And then what about Juice Wells? Is he going back to South Carolina?
It's possible. He's got to decide how stuck he is
So
on his price tag.
When do they have to decide by?
I mean, drop ad date of the spring semester.
There should be a date, just like pro sports, where it ends on this date. You can't string it along non-stop.
I mean, but
it's got to.
Yeah, but they can. I mean, he's got to be wherever he goes. He's got to be in class, in time to enroll for the spring semester, and that's pretty much you want to be in on the first day, but technically you can join on the last day to drop and add classes. Yeah.
So it's like the 25th for Ole Miss, and when South Carolina go back, like same time. So
I can't.
This could go into the new year.
Oh, it will definitely go into the new year. I can't tell you when South Carolina's. I can't tell you about South Carolina's academic calendar. I don't know.
they don't have to sign the same day as the kids that from high school.
No, they don't sign anything. There's nothing to sign. They just enroll. They transfer. They don't sign a letter of intent.
Well, no, but they have to sign the contract, don't they?
I mean, yeah.
They can sign that until drop ad day?
Well, yeah, you can sign a contract with the collective, but that's not binding. At others, it's not binding with the NCAA or whatever.
Oh.
Or the school for that matter.
Or the school for that matter, yeah. I mean, it's just it's binding with the collective, and that's it.
So we can sign with the school and then say, no, never mind, I'm going to go here.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this needs to get fixed.
I mean, I know of. I'll be careful how I do this.
It's about to be less fixed.
Gabe Diorman just sent me the funniest text. The Rivals Network, man, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
I know of a kid who signed with a collective, and that school is no longer taking the kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Huh. So how can you do that?
By doing it, look, there are no rules.
Well, there need to be rules.
Well,
this is like
right, but to do the rules, you have to collectively bargain the rules, and there is no union because they're not employees. It's why you hear.
But where's the smart person in the room? Why can't the NCAA be smart?
Oh, that ship sailed a long time ago. You're not getting that ship back. That's over. I mean, you're talking about now whether the schools have the wherewithal to break away and form a coalition and set rules that everyone will agree to. And there's a lot. That's a loaded assignment.
So what's going to happen in 5 years?
Well,
what's going to happen in 5 months?
Shit, if I knew that.
Fucking go! That's not good.
Was that a red light or was that an on-ramp?
That was a red light.
Okay.
I was sat there for 2 seconds.
No, I mean, look, it's the deal. They're not doing anything to harm players right now, so players can do pretty much whatever they want, and nothing's binding. I mean, the collectives can do a contract where, hey, you make this while you play for said school, but there's nothing that makes them play for said school or enroll at said school.
So they can just steal the money.
Well, no, when you stop paying them once they stop doing whatever it is they're doing. But yeah, I mean, look, like take Chris Marshall for example. He never played in the game, but he still got money from the Grove Collective.
But it stopped once he got kicked off the team, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. I was thinking he was still getting paid.
No. You stop it once they're gone. And there's less upfront money now, at least through the normal way or through the new ways than there would have been in the past.
Okay. And then one more thing. Were y'all hinting at Jackson Dart going to Southern Cal today on the podcast?
No.
Because y'all kept bringing up Southern Cal a lot in his name.
No. No, I was just speaking in total hypotheticals.
I expect Jackson Dart to be the Ole Miss quarterback next season.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give you a good show to watch. It's called Manifest.
I started it, and then I kind of quit toward the end of the first season. I never picked it back up.
It's bad the second season, but the fourth season's pretty good, and then the finale is just like...
I got to get through 4 seasons, though?
No, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Yeah. You can start, fourth season episode.
Yeah, the concept was really neat, and then it kind of got out there, and I went, yeah, no, not for me. And I stopped.
Well, no, acting was horrible. The whole acting was just awful.
Yeah.
And they're from New York, too, so, I mean, worst city in America. They were probably Mets fans. But anyway. All right, well, y'all have a good Christmas.
You too. Thanks.
Or Hanukkah or whatever.
Rivals sent Ole Miss graphics and Alabama graphics. No Missouri graphics. The other networks had graphics ready. Rivals, not so much. Doing a real good job. Rivals.
We'll get them here soon. It's fine. It was supposed to be Ole Miss. It was till an hour ago.
All right, last call.
By the way, we mentioned this last night.
Hello?
Or go ahead.
Hang on one second. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mentioned all the good schedules.
Mm-hmm.
It's at least worth mentioning on the podcast, even though it's been everywhere. Florida's final games prior to Ole Miss and whatever the hell that might look like at the end of next season. Florida closing next year with Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. A Final Five there for the Gators. Whew, boy.
Have fun.
As someone said, they have to get off to a 3-1 start to even have a chance, and that includes games against Miami and Texas A&M in those first few. So,
good luck.
Yeah.
Hey, Grime, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. I was just running through that. I was just giving Billy a moment of silence, man. R.I.P. to that tenure. That's what it sounded like to me. Goodness gracious.
Feels like the end.
That won't be at all problematic on our message board sometime late fall next year.
Did Billy Napier used to date the chick that make the SEC schedules or something and effed her over in the past? What happened, bro?
Their schedule. I mean, seriously, on a year where they've got to be better or he's in deep trouble. Miami, Samford, whatever, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, but in Starkville, Central Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. So they can't lose 2 games of Miami, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, and Kentucky.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like what Neal used to. I'm not gonna say. Like, I've always kind of revered the Florida job, and maybe that was because, when I was like 10, 11, they had Tebow and all that stuff. But, man, if the next guy after Napier don't do it, then maybe I have to start changing, my view on Florida. Maybe.
Look, we got to you got to go ahead and do something. You got to go ahead and do something. What anything that existed before 2020, you can revere it all you want to. It's cool. It's history. It's no longer relevant. Peace out to it. It's no longer relevant. You can do whatever you want to do with 2020. You can if your team did great, you want to claim it, awesome. If your team did shitty and you want to claim that, great. We live in a new era. It's 3 years old. We're about to go into the 4th year. The 4th year is a somewhat of a new era, but we live in a new era. And the people that think a place is going to win because it once won, that's not an excuse. That's not it anymore. It's totally different world, and that's hard for people.
Right.
I get it, but I'm telling you, I am 100%.
It's going to take a minute, man. It's going to take a minute.
I'm 100% right on this. I'm 100% right on this. Because you won in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it's awesome. You have those trophies, keep them. But it doesn't mean you'll win now. And because you lost in the 80s and 90s, it doesn't mean you'll lose now. It's a new world.
So, well, got to give you a second and grind, talk about whatever you want to talk about. I know these people exist, but this is my favorite tweet here. I've got Chuck Dunlap's grid schedule up for the SEC, explaining all the games and stuff next week. He gets a thing from an actual journalist, some dude who covers news in St. Louis. His response to Chuck Dunlap, what about times and TV? It is December of 2023.
Yeah.
And he's asking for times and TV channels for games next fall. They just, he's Meatloaf guy.
God.
Here's the schedule. What's the TV channel?
Those people
what
exist.
What time is it?
Those people exist.
I don't understand. Why do you not have it all?
I've told you for the longest time, those people exist.
I also can't get Mississippi State to 6 wins. I tried really hard multiple times today, and I'm giving them a couple wins that I'm not sure they're getting, and I still can't get them to 6. So year one, probably not looking good for Joe.
They were kind of hyped when they saw their schedule. Oddly enough,
they're counting wins over Arizona State and Tempe and Toledo, and I'm telling you, those are not automatic wins.
No, that Toledo game ain't automatic. Well, I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna show them some respect. They got an SEC patch on their jersey, so I'm gonna say they should beat Toledo. But hey, you know, I've seen a team with SEC patch get their ass whooped.
Have you really
Mexico
lately?
State,
Yeah.
So.
I tell you,
I understand.
if you want to look for a game that Billy Napier absolutely has to win, that thing is, what is the exact date? That is September the 21st, week 4 in Starkville. That is a big game for those two
And
teams
you know
early.
what? Why is that the game? That feels like his Ron Zook game. Now look, man, that game feels like where Florida coaches go to die for whatever
He
reason.
could be 1-2 headed to Starkville after losses to Miami and Texas A&M.
My problem, if I'm with Billy Napier, if I'm Billy Napier, I know UCF is in the Big 12, but why do you have to acknowledge them and play them? I wouldn't do that. Would you guys?
No, I would not play UCF.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm already playing Florida State. I'm playing as many bad teams the rest of the time as I can play. Forget that. No. Because I don't play Miami either. What are you doing? There's a world where they go 1-3 in the non-con.
Are we overreacting? Is this going to be like some year where, you know, Florida turns it around and, you know, he goes like 9-3 somehow? Can you get 9-3 on that schedule?
Florida? No.
Graham Mertz and their just lack of knowing how to win, and they didn't do anything to teach themselves how to win. You know what I mean? Because Missouri was beat.
Yeah.
They played with Florida State. They were okay early.
They had the game won. They should have made it easier for the committee.
Yeah, they don't know how to win, and the only way to do that is to win. And there's nothing there that shows that's going to happen.
True.
And they're going to get portal gutted.
What I'm gonna ask y'all, and I think signing day ain't gonna be too favorable for them either. I think that class that's highly ranked, I think it's gonna get poached, just in my opinion. So, well, I'm trying to see how should I set this up. Well, before I get to Hugh Freeze, I'm gonna ask y'all this: if you had to rank Jeff Lebby, Billy Napier, Drinkwitz, Shane Beamer as head coaches. I know Jeff Lebby has yet to be a head coach, but as what you think of them, or where you think Jeff Lebby will fall in line in that pecking order on Napier, Beamer, Drinks, and I put Pittman in there too.
Drink's number one. It's not even a conversation.
No, he's very, very good.
He's number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, and it's time people acknowledge Missouri as a power in the new era. A power. That's what they are.
That's gonna be hard, man.
Well, start. I'm flat telling you, Missouri's a power in this era. It might not last forever, but right now, today, they are a power. They have NIL completely figured out. They have a massive. They're way ahead of most people.
Yo, you said 15 million.
Yeah, they have, and that's a conservative. That is a conservative number. That is a real number. They have $15 million for their budget. That puts them in the upper echelon of NIL, way ahead of people that you, of people that you think.
Florida's of the world.
Texas is.
I probably say that's more than Ohio State.
They're way up there. They're way up there. People can listen. I'm telling you, if you take nothing else from this show, you cannot judge programs today off what they were 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It completely doesn't matter. It's a completely different game.
So do y'all think Lebby has the ceiling to Drinkwitz?
No, I don't think you can win at Mississippi State.
Drinkwitz.
Do you think he's good enough to kind of like shine through that a little bit? Do you think he can do better than what Dan Mullen did?
Better than Mullen?
God,
no.
No.
If nothing else, just because the era has changed.
Yeah, Mullen was in a different era. That era doesn't count. Throw it out. It's history. You can acknowledge the history. You can respect the history. You can whatever the history, but it doesn't matter.
So if I put the over/under for Jeff Lebby at 1.5, and I say over under 1.5 10-win seasons during his tenure at Mississippi State.
Under. Way under.
What about 9?
Under.
If I said it at 9,
Under.
Really? You don't think he gets at least 2 9-win seasons?
I don't
including
think,
the bowl game.
I don't think they have the money.
Straight coaches off your list. I think I'm going Drinkwitz, and it falls off a cliff after there, but I think I'm going Napier, Levy, Beamer.
See, the reason I asked that question because there's some talk that Levy is better than Napier, even though he hasn't proven it yet that, he's for sure can be a better coach than Napier. And I just found that interesting because, Napier had Louisiana Lafayette Napier, he was the golden boy, for a good little minute. I'd be curious to see what makes of him if he can't turn it out at Florida. But now with this Hugh Freeze thing, man, my gosh, bro, my gosh. What was recruiting like within the state when he was there at Ole Miss?
Did a good job.
I
State's always going to grab a couple.
As far as this, and he was there obviously when the whole rubber rags things and all that stuff went on.
Yeah, he was. Right. He did a good job of identifying top 250 kids who had some sort of in to any level with Ole Miss. Laquan Treadwell's high school teammate was Anthony Standifer. Got him. Kimdichie, obviously, brother. Tunzel just did a damn good recruiting job and offered multiple scholarships. Was very creative. They were relatively efficient with recruiting, and inside the state, they did a really good job for the most part. They did. They signed a lot of top 5 guys. State was always going to get 1 or 2, and they did. Jeffrey Simmons, those kind of dudes.
I mean more so from a drama standpoint. That I wasn't really talking. I know, he signed elite dudes and all that. Were those recruitments, how dramatic and dramatized were they compared to now? Looking back on it, does it seem like those recruitments had more drama to them? Because the only reason I'm asking is because I haven't seen anything like this within the state from a recruiting when it comes to Alabama and Auburn. You had Auburn players on an Instagram Live with a 5-star recruit that just reclassified from Alabama, showing them thousands of dollars, talking about coming to Auburn. You know what's up? I'm like, I haven't seen it like this before. So that's what I'm trying to say. Is this what something that I need to get used to or something like?
Yes, it's going to be dramatic.
I think you.
Yes.
Yeah, Neal, I think you know where I'm trying to come from because you've been in the state. The recruiting battles in Alabama and Auburn, they come to a point to where either side is like, all right, whatever, we'll go to the next kid. I think you get what I'm going at?
Sure.
It seems like that boundary is being crossed now. And I just don't, and I guess you can cross it in the NIL era. But that, I'm just curious to see how it plays out. Because like I said, I haven't seen the state from within, have such dramatic recruitments. I know you had Reuben Foster tattoo Auburn on his arm and whatnot, but it's usually one player per cycle. It's not like this. And so that's why I was asking about, because you guys had more knowledge of how dramatic the recruitments were back then and whatnot. So
he has a hard time letting go of a recruiting race. He fights it to the end, even when it's a lost cause.
Okay, I can see that. This, and look, man, I kind of feel bad for you, my guy, Neal. Because everybody you talking about, everybody was on your butt about recruiting. And so you kicked it in the 8th gear, not even 6th gear, 8th gear. And you got stuff like the Kawan Lacy stuff that just happened.
Yep.
Honestly, how does that make, I know there's a part of you that's just you know what? I don't even want to, what is the point of this?
Yeah, I had a really good Kawan Lacy story written. It was really good. I just have to go in and delete it. I don't know. I think there's a segment of the fan bases, all the fan bases that loved recruiting the old way, and are having a hard time accepting that thing is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. It's new now. And so, like, you know, in the old days, right now, Ole Miss people would be accusing Missouri of all sorts of wrongdoing. No, they just got him. I mean, they just
shrugged their shoulders.
They just won. And so it's a different era, you know. I mean,
and see, Chase, I listened to the pod this morning about 1.5 times, man, and I lean with Chase just because, man, just with everything going on with college football, man, it feels wrong. And I know feelings and all that stuff and whatnot, but if you just look at everything, I mean, you've got, you know, unlimited transfers. You got an undefeated Power 5 getting left out the playoffs. It feels wrong right now. It just feels wrong. It doesn't even feel like I guess this is something we're going to have to get used to. But if they keep asking us as fans to keep giving and giving, I mean, at some point, you know, something has got to give. Something has got to give.
I mean, it's my whole premise is I just don't know. I just don't see athletic departments completely giving in and never trying to fight back in any way. That's all. I mean, that's the reason. I guess it's related to you saying that about Florida State getting left out. I read something from Blake Toffenmeyer yesterday, and I actually agree with him once I said it. And we didn't say this on the podcast. With the way these playoff rules are set up, Florida State's better off just staying in the ACC. Because you get these automatic bids. All you're doing is being better than Clemson. That's it.
Their deal is they don't think they can make up the financial difference.
And so what? They're just gonna make $30 million or less and just be happy with it?
No, they don't think it's. I mean, I know this. Everybody pushes back on this. I've talked to people at these schools. They just don't.
Can I play devil's advocate?
They simply don't feel it's tenable.
What's the difference in the $30 million when it's not going to the players anyway? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, an athletic department budget that's $210 instead of $180, but none of it's going to the players. And if I can get in the playoff, I'm just asking.
No, it's a legitimate question.
They would argue that it's stuff for the players, that the SEC is able to have these extra amenities and things and whatnot for the players.
That'd be the argument.
To be honest, we've hit the point where questions like you just asked, which is totally legitimate, you can't just answer them on the fly. You've got to stop and think and
really look at a budget,
sit down and study it and talk about it before you can come up with an educated answer. I mean, it's a legitimate question. It's very good. I just don't know.
So would that be the case? Would they have gone from arguing about how the SEC has these much bigger contracts to 18 2 years later? Whatever. We'll just win the conference, get in. We'll, the $30 million less, Chase is right, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just a different world. And listen, it's ever changing, and it's been like this for a while now. We've talked about it, and Jeffrey brought up a great point this morning about who knows what TV money looks like 5 years from now. 10 years from now,
if the football guys come down and say, hey, look, one of these two things are going to happen. It's either going to be a full, train ahead into something you can't even fathom that college football is going to be, or it's going to regress, not fully back to what it used to be, but about 70% there where players can only transfer once, but they're still going to get some NIL, but it's not going to be nearly as much as it is right now.
I'm a firm believer that you can never get the toothpaste back into the tube. Just a philosophical belief that I have, that it has been proven to be true over time.
We don't go backwards very much.
I don't think once you, quote, grant rights, you can take rights away. It doesn't work. It's my opinion. maybe I'm wrong. That's my belief that once you squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube, you might as well use it because you can't get it back in there.
All right. Okay, then. Well, shoot, man, I'm going to keep enjoying the show, and hope you guys have a happy holidays, man.
Later, Grind.
Hey,
You
Merry
too.
Christmas to you, Grind. All right, we're gonna wrap it there. We've been going a little longer than we normally go on Thursdays. In the event that this is our last true hand raise guys of the year, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. We'll have three at least podcasts next week at MPW with Oxford Exxon podcast. I know Tyler and I are going to do a crossover sort of a podcast. I don't know what our plans for the end of next week are. We'll figure it out. Probably not much post signing day. Again, big development tonight. Kewan Lacy commits to Missouri. That's a huge win for Memphis. It is a huge loss, a huge win for Missouri, I should say. A huge loss for Ole Miss. He was a guy that Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss really wanted. This is it's a loss. It'll be curious to see how they transition from this. Dante Dowdell, the former Picayune running back, in the transfer portal tonight out of Oregon.
That
feels like that's probably a place they go, but I can tell you they did not feel as good about Dowdell a year ago as they did about Lacy. They thought Lacy was very much a Quinshon Judkins clone sort of player. So big win. Big win for Missouri tonight. So thanks to everybody for calling in. Appreciate everybody in the stream. Thanks to Comer and Southern for sponsoring the show as always. And we will talk to you guys again soon. Until then, take care.